Grapevine wreaths can be made in many styles and in almost any size. You'll need a supply of grapevines and a pruner, maybe a pair of gloves if you wish. First, you will determine the desired circumference of your wreath. Now, you'll be building from the inside outward, and so imagine the first circle as the most inward strand of your wreath. Each vine will likely have several canes that will be wrapped together. So, as each vine will have several canes, squeeze them together as you wrap and weave them in. Using one of your feet as a support, begin by spinning the thick end of the first vine around itself and whip the longer length straight away from you so that you can pull it through the hole, turning in the opposite direction from the thick end, continuing that practice of wrapping it around and pulling it through the hole. It's going to be a wrestling match to keep the vines together as you weave. As you come around and reach the thick end of that vine, you'll use the thinner strand to pull in and incorporate the thick opposite end, continuing to use your foot to support the base of the wreath. When only approximately a yard or a meter of the end of the vine is left, it's time to incorporate another length of vine. If you haven't already, make an oblique cut at the thick end of the vine, which will make it sharper and easier to insert into the center of the wreath body. Whip it away from you so as to be able to feed it into the wreath. Use the ends of the first vine to weave and incorporate the new cane. Repeat the process of pulling the length down and through, using your foot and hand to keep it approximating a circle as best you can. Let the vine dictate the angle of the wrapping. If it's too acute an angle, the vines will want to snap. So let the suppleness of the vine dictate your angle of wrapping. Continue to wrap and pull through using your foot to support the circle. It really is a wrestling match. Eventually, the path of the series of vines will become clear as the multiple strands can be slipped into valleys along the circular structure, using the cane to incorporate any wayward canes. At this point, the wreath is thin and meager, but as you add and add more material, it will bulk up to have an impressive integrity. It becomes a bit of a struggle, so you'll have to have the strength to keep the vine as taut as possible with your hand as it's being wrapped. The more canes you can handle, the faster the process will go. Here, clearly, you can see the valleys to fill. Feel free to snip off any unconforming or wayward branches of the cane as you go along. Here's a valley where the next series of vines wants to flow. As you insert a new vine, weave the skinny ends of the previous vine around the bulk of the new vine so as to secure the end of the previous to the next vine, to keep it all weaved together. Continue the process of inserting the thick end into the body and squeezing the canes of the vine into the valleys. If any of the canes are not workable, just snip them off. Finally, from the stress of twisting, much of the thin bark is broken away from the vine, so you will trim the bark with pruners, endeavoring not to remove any of the tendrils, because the tendrils are a naturally spirally ornamentation that gives life to the final structure of the wreath, as they were used in the life of the vine to reach out and support the vine on your arbor structure. Also, snip off the thinner ends of the cane that were not supported in the building of the wreath or are sticking out. In some cases, leave several inches or centimeters of the thinner end of the cane, snip them to a point, and then bend it into the body of the wreath. So there still is work to be done. Trim as much of the bark off as you desire, leaving as many of the tendrils as you can.